Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany. I am a classical pianist, but most of all, I am an engineer. And I asked you guys on Instagram to send me some questions because I constantly get DMs asking about my career choice, if I regret it, why I decided not to pursue music, and how do I balance my life between these two very, very distinct worlds? And I actually didn't come up with a script or anything, and I'm kind of seeing these questions for the first time. I read them through, but I didn't think about what answers I was gonna give yet, just because I want it to be as organic and conversational as possible. Let's get to it. So for those of you who don't know, I did classical piano very seriously growing up, and I always thought I was going to become a classical pianist. I think that was my dream throughout childhood. Like, I really, really loved it. So I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna pursue music. But once I hit the end of my high school and I was choosing which direction I wanted to take, I did apply to music, but I also started realizing my interest in the sciences and the math area. And because of my vision to have a stable income and a stable lifestyle, I decided to pursue engineering instead. So now I am in my master's degree. I'm doing biomedical engineering, but I completed my undergrad in electrical. So I did a small switch to a very meaningful field, and I'm very happy here. So that's just a little bit of background. And then throughout my undergrad, I did play piano for a couple years, probably around 3 actually. And now that I'm back, I am trying my very best to balance both. And as a lot of you asked how I do it, I hope that I can sort of give you a little bit of insight in this video. Let's start light and easy here. The first question, do you still try to perform in public in order to keep it as a habit? I really want to, but I actually think that I should, in order to motivate myself to actually polish my pieces and get them concert ready. I am quite swamped with my current schoolwork and research work that I'm doing, but I think hopefully over the summer I can actually learn some new rep and polish it to completion. I hope to do a solo recital and to be able to just make it a small little thing. It's more for myself to be able to play. I'm definitely looking for opportunities to do so once I have a good program polished. But I do love accompanying other people. That takes the pressure off myself, but I still get to perform. The next question, did your parents steer you in any particular direction? Thank you so much for asking this question, because I wanted to clarify. No, my parents were fully supportive of whatever path I decided to choose for myself. To kind of hop on that direction too, I just wanted to say that my parents also never forced me to pursue the piano seriously either. It was something that I personally loved, and I think there's a lot of misunderstanding as to whether parents force their children to practice, but there are many cases where kids are genuinely in love with the instrument and they love the music and they love to play at a high level. And to play at a high level, you do have to put in hours and hours of hard work. So for me and for many other pianists or musicians out there, no, parents don't always have to force their kids to love it. So that's kind of like a side note. But in terms of my career, my parents just wanted me to be happy, and if that was to go into music or if that was to pursue something else that I was also interested in, they had no input. They were fully supportive and on board with anything I wanted to do. And even now, I quit my job to pursue more school. They are 100% supportive. I also really like this one. In a world where money doesn't exist, would you pursue music professionally? Yes. It's a very difficult one to answer, but I think my first instinct would be to say yes. I love what I'm doing right now in my master's and in my research. I absolutely love it. But if I had to choose between one of them, to give up one, there's no way I'd be giving up music. I just know this. I know that my true passion lies in piano, and so yes, I would probably be pursuing music professionally if money wasn't an issue. The next is pretty loaded as well. I get a ton of these DMs. You know, periodically they come in and they ask me, what should I do for my career? Should I follow my passion in music or should I study something else? Honestly, it's very difficult to answer these kinds of questions because ultimately I think you have to follow what your heart wants. There's definitely always a fight between what your passion is and what your heart wants versus what's rational, what's logical. It's something that you really have to decide for yourself, and being a musician, you can still have a very stable job, and I am a big believer in the fact that if you are passionate about something, you'll make it work. Things will pan out for you as long as your heart is there. So for something like this, if you do have interests in science, I would suggest narrowing it down to what you want to do after. A lot of people pursue professional school after a science degree, like medicine, dentistry, maybe law. But you know, to this day, I still think about how if I pursued music professionally, I would probably be playing better than I do now. It actually brings me to my next question. Are you happy and content with the decision that you made not to take music professionally? Very, very good question. Throughout my 4 to 5 years of undergrad in engineering, I 100% regretted not going into music. I was not happy with my decision. I started to like engineering more and more as I went through my program, but I don't think the thought of like, oh, I should have done music, that thought never left my mind throughout my undergrad. Now, you know, like now that I decided to go back to school, the perspective has completely shifted for me. I am so happy with where I am in my career right now. I absolutely love the work that I'm doing. I can't believe that I'm saying this right now, but I love engineering at this point in my life because of the purpose that I'm serving to the community and to healthcare. I'm really happy that I get to use my skills that I've gained in undergrad for a purpose that is just so meaningful. So I love it here. I don't regret it at this point. But that's the thing, I had to grow to accept the fact that sometimes you have to give up a little bit of something in order to have more of something else, and that is the trade-off that you have in life. You know, you only have 24 hours a day and you can't do everything. This is the perfect segue into the question that everyone asks. How do you manage your workload? How do you manage to balance being an engineer and a pianist? Well, I want to start with a disclaimer. I think a lot of people mistake balance to be like a 50-50 where you know, I practice equally the same amount of time as I spend on my work in engineering, and that is completely false because otherwise I wouldn't be sleeping at all, you guys. When we talk about balance here, it's not about splitting my time evenly. It's not about splitting my attention or whatever, because there are times where I need to give my work 100% attention, either to prepare for a conference talk or to work with clinicians, and these collaborations, like, they can't wait. And so this is where I have to give 100% of my attention to my work. And unfortunately, that means sometimes I won't be able to practice for a week, for 2 weeks, and I have to be okay with that. I have to be okay because right now, music is not my #1 priority. And sometimes, you know, work might get a little more chill and I have, you know, time on my hands, and there's just so much rep I want to learn. And that's where I'm like, hey, let me pick out some things that are manageable for me in this time frame. For example, I know that this week I don't have that much work to do. Why don't I try to learn a Chopin etude within this week? And another thing that I tell people is that piano to me is not work. Piano is, I don't like calling it a hobby because I think I take it more seriously than a hobby. I would consider it a passion project. So for me to be able to sit down at the piano, it's me spending time with myself. It's part of my self-care. It's part of something I like to do to unwind and to take my mind off everything else, all the noise. It never feels like hard work to me. and I never wanted to. And so when we go back to that question of whether I regret not taking it professionally, you know, I did, but I think at this point in my life, if I think about it, I don't know if I would love it as much as I do now if I had the pressure of always playing my best, stressing about juries, about recitals, like over and over again, stressing about, you know, where I would take my career. I think these things might take away from the joy that I'm experiencing right now with my music. Next question. Would you recommend going to graduate school for piano or majoring in psychology as a second career? When you're deciding between two very different paths, I think you should think, what do you envision your future to look like, and how will the steps that you're taking now get you to where you want to go? For me, every next move that I make, I look at it as a stepping stone to where I want to be ultimately. Of course, like, plans change and everything changes, but at this moment, I see this for my future, so I'm going to take this respective step in that direction. I also wanted to address this. How do you vision yourself with piano? I want to be able to play at you know, a decently high level. I want to be able to still perform and maybe do some like competitions on the side, even though I know I won't be able to be playing at a professional level, still playing at a level where I can enjoy without pressure. Like, if I would enter any competitions or if I would play in any concerts, it would just be for my own enjoyment, and that is truly what I want music to be for me. Something that I can do on the side that makes me so happy. And you know, the thing with me wanting to do competitions again, it has nothing to do with winning. It has nothing to do with that. It's purely because I love being on stage. I love performing, and I want to bring my music to other people. And lastly, this question makes me very excited, but what is your ideal career path coming out of your master's degree? Guys, I love research, and only because I love the field that I'm in. I am doing research in ophthalmology and medical imaging. Imaging is something that I am very passionate about because diagnosis is the first step to any treatment. I love it, okay? And I don't know if I will come out with a master's degree because there is a very big chance that I will switch into a PhD program, so that will add a couple more years to my degree, but I will get to do this and hopefully get a doctorate. So yeah, I'm very excited. I think every time I talk about it, I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. And that's how I know that I'm very content with where I am right now, because I finally found something that makes me so happy. And I always say this, but find something that sets your heart on fire, because if you live every day with passion, things will work out for you. I'm just so blessed to be able to finally find an area of engineering that makes me so excited. Like, I want to go to these conferences and I want to do work. Like, I wake up every day excited to go and make new discoveries or something like that. No, that's not how research works, but I'm excited to go to work every day. And on the weekends, I'm excited to wake up and go practice. And honestly, how much more can I ask for? I am very blessed, for sure. So that wraps up the questions that I will be answering for this video. Thank you for sending them in, and thank you for being curious. I love sharing my experiences because I feel like my idea of a perfect career has shifted so much throughout the past 5 years, and honestly, I value mentorship. You know, for my girls in STEM, I am rooting for you. And if you have any more questions, like, feel free to leave them in the comments. You can also DM me separately, and if there are enough, maybe I'll make a part 2 focused on my engineering work, or I can answer some music related questions as well. And I will see you guys next time.